How's it going? Hans Schaff here. Want to just share with you here live from the Tiny House Jamboree. I'm here. I'm going to flip the camera around and show you what's going on here. There's some tiny houses down there. I got a little workshop going on over there. Just going to share with you a little bit about what's going on here. So they're having the Tiny House Jamboree. Over 51 countries are represented here. It's a free event. Over 10,000 people have registered to show up for this event. So it's kind of a big deal. And you've got a whole bunch of builders here, vendors. You've got people from all over the country, all over the world who are here to take a look at tiny houses, to buy from vendors, little parts and pieces that are exclusive to tiny houses. Again, there's the workshop going over there. It's a 3-day conference. Starts today at 10 a.m. and it goes through Sunday. And they got speakers. They got from the popular TV shows, Tiny House Nation. Zach is going to be here, one of the builders in that show. He's a keynote speaker. Several builders are going to be speaking, talking about simple living in tiny houses. And I just want to give you a quick tour here of what's going on. Give you a little first-person perspective on what is happening here in the tiny house world. So there's some porta potties. Got to have those for 10,000 people. So let's go find some tiny houses. Here you go. Here's where all the tiny houses are at. It looks like a tiny house community here. It's pretty cool. This is the Western Mining Museum is where this is being held in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And there's a tumbleweed tiny house. Recognize that one. Looks like there's a sprout tiny house over there. And there's some more sprout tiny houses. I'll just do a little quick walk around to give you a quick tour here from the other side. Looks like they're building one out of SIPs, which are insulated panels essentially that they're building a tiny house there live on the spot. So they've got people lining up to walk into some of these tiny houses and tour the inside, which I'll do as well here. So here they're building a tiny house. Someone's asking, what does it mean one room? There's a lot of tiny houses that are for homeless people they're designing. Those are more tiny rooms. They don't have plumbing. It's just one room. These are actual tiny houses. It's got a kitchen, it's got a bathroom, it's got usually like a loft or some kind of a bedroom area and a living area. So you have full amenities, everything that you need to be able to live. And the advantage is they're on wheels, so you can take them with you. They're mobile. And there's the founder of Sprout right there. He's a builder with a pink thing around his neck. I met him. He's out of just east of here. I forget where he's from, but good guy. Rod, founder of Sprout Tiny Houses, and this looks like a Sprout. In fact, I'll zoom in here so you can see a little more. So they're actually building this live on the spot. These panels, the way they build these, they're actually pre-designed and pre-built at the factory, and they just come in pieces, and they're very solid, very rigid, and very well insulated, so they make for a great tiny house. You can put them together quite a bit faster. Yeah, tornadoes and things, just like anything else, you know, you're going to want it strapped down. These do, because you're driving down the road at 60 miles an hour, they're actually built more strongly and rigidly than a typical home. They have hurricane straps on every roof joist and rafter. I mean, everything is just strapped down because you're driving down the road at 60 miles an hour. And you can see it's actually 2x4 studs. It's not, you've got a proper locking door. I mean, they're really neat. I'm actually in the process of building myself right now. I have the trailer on order. I just sold my house last week. And so I'm technically homeless as I'm building my tiny house. And I'm going to be moving into one of these. Mine will be a 39-foot long trailer, essentially, gooseneck. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to have a hot tub outside. It's going to have a fireplace, wood-burning fireplace. How much? Someone's asking. You know, they range. You can build one yourself if you're handy enough. It's going to take a lot of time. It'll probably take about 1,000 hours, is what depending on your skills. But they can range anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000. If you buy like this one right here, the Sprout one they're building, this is probably a $60,000, $50,000, $60,000 house. It really all depends, but what you'll see the norm is right around $50,000, $60,000. Now, for a really big one like I'm building, it's usually, you know, you're looking, if you had a builder build it for you, you're looking closer to $100,000. So I mean, they're stout. I mean, they're strong. They're very well insulated, very efficient, and they're great little houses. I'm gonna keep walking around. You can see all the people are starting to show up here. For utilities, you can do on the grid, you can tie in like a RV does, where you've got, you know, your water hookup, your electric hookup, and maybe propane. Steal it. Yeah, you can actually, you know, you can lock the wheels and you can lock the trailer hitch as well. But you can also go off grid with solar panels, wind generators, or just you know, solar panels or no electricity at all if you want. Some people do that, but really the whole point of this tiny house movement is to be able to live more by, you know, giving up all the junk that you're paying for that you don't need. It's kind of holding you back. So it's really a neat thing, and as you can see here, it's quite a strong growing movement. A lot of people interested and fascinated in this, and they're all lining up to get inside these houses and walk through them. They're kind of small, you can't fit too many people in them at once. It's like this one's got a little chicken coop built into it. It's kind of neat. Not sure who built that one. There's a little wind generator on that one. Solar panel as well. This is a Jamboree is what it's called. So it is a showcase. It's kind of all the builders and vendors in the industry have kind of all come out to showcase their product. It's just kind of a great meeting place for everybody, for the whole movement everywhere in the world to kind of come out. It's the first annual one they've ever done. That's why it's free. Next year I'm sure they'll charge just for the organization of it all, because it's quite a big event. We've taken over the parking structure of Bass Pro Shops up there. So and here's Tumbleweed. 6 kids, you might need a few of these houses. I don't think you're all going to fit in one trailer, one tiny house. You know, typically you're looking at about 150 to 200 square feet. Really, a tiny house is really anything less than 600 square feet can be a tiny house. But I'd say the average is probably 200 square feet, 200 to 300. Mine's gonna be about 350. I'm gonna be on the larger side. Tumbleweed over here is a company who's kind of started the movement. Jay Schaefer founded this company about 15, 20 years ago, and has since sold it. But they are one of the bigger names in the industry. They don't do any marketing whatsoever, just for word of mouth, and pictures shown on Pinterest and things like that. You see them all over the place online. So it's they're one of the bigger builders. So you'll see a lot of Tumbleweed designs and a lot of Tumbleweed trailers and Tumbleweed houses all over the place. That's probably one of the bigger ones you're going to see. Also, they build out here in Colorado Springs as well. Any other questions anybody's got about tiny houses while I'm walking around here? Now there's a metal frame one. I'm interested in that. That's going to add to the rigidity and structural integrity of the house, and it's also going to reduce the weight. These houses can weigh 10, 15,000 pounds and have triple axles, which are rated, to hold up to 21,000 pounds. So they can be pretty heavy. You got to have a full-size truck, like a 3500 or something, in order to pull them. But again, you're not like an RV. You're not moving them all around. Typically, you might move them once or twice a year, depending on your preferences. A lot of people are using them to travel, maybe to the beach, live there for half the year like a snowbird, and then they can drive it back up into the north in the summer months. But yeah, about 10,000 people have registered already, and there's a bunch more people coming, and it's only, what time is it here? 11:15, so it's going to get real packed here. But really neat to see all these different tiny house vendors. I'll keep exploring around. Here's a Sunset Valley Solar. They do solar panels, wind turbines, off-grid power systems, to answer one of the viewers' questions. There's a trailer to give you an idea what a trailer looks like before you put a tiny house on it. I'll get a closer. This is obviously a vendor, and you can see exactly how they make these trailers. Flange out on the outside, and it's basically, you've got the pan on the bottom, so you can just insulate that, and that turns into your subfloor. So they're not just normal trailers, they are custom built trailers. Where do you park them? You can park them at an RV park. There's that metal structure, it's pretty neat. But that's actually one of the issues that people are having. That's actually what I'm going to head up is tiny house communities, because they are so unique and so new and so different. This movement's kind of a grassroots thing. It's kind of sprung up out of nowhere, really gaining popularity in the last few years. So they don't really fit into any codes. Most cities and things have codes that you've got to have one room in your house that has to be at least 8 by 10. Well, you don't even have a room that size in a tiny house because of how tiny it is. So it kind of doesn't fit most existing codes and zoning requirements. So it's a bit of an issue. And that's why I'm looking to head up and create these tiny house communities specifically for houses like this, because you can see how nice and high quality these houses. I mean, a subdivision of these would be really cool looking. Let me show you the size of this inside of this metal one, give you an idea of what the inside looks like before there's anybody in it. So the restrictions you have is 8.5 feet wide without getting a permit where anyone can tow this. You don't want to build any wider than 8.5 feet. And you also don't want to go higher than 13.5 feet, because bridges, overpasses, things like that, 13.5 is about the national standard for that. Some areas you may still hit some wires or some tree branches. So you may want to stick to the main roads with these, but you definitely don't want to go over 13.5 feet. You want to stay underneath that mark and less than 8.5 feet wide. But because of the height there, the deck is actually 2 feet up, so you've actually got 11.5 feet to the very top there. So you've actually got quite a bit of space in there where you put a loft, and so you can really maximize the space. And it actually, because of all the windows you can put in there and the light that comes in, you really do get to see what the potential is in this, and it really makes it feel a whole lot bigger than it really is. So it's neat. And of course, you don't have to make any mortgage payments. You don't have to pay any real estate taxes, other than if you have the land, you pay a land tax. But like I said, $60,000, $50,000, $70,000, and you're done. You don't have to worry about mortgage payments. You don't have to worry about a bank. You don't have to worry about missing payments or getting foreclosed on. It's yours. That's part of the draw for these tiny houses. So I'll keep on going. If you got any questions, feel free to ask him. I'll try to watch as I'm driving or walking around here. And of course, the other thing with tiny houses is you really get to express yourself, and you can, because each one of them is different. It has to be. The space is so small, you really got to, express and use every single inch that's available to you. Now, Eco Cabins, this is another builder. They're ones that sponsor this event. Check out some of these really neat chairs they have out front, made out of skis and snowboards. Here's some solar-powered lanterns, looks like. There's a lot of really neat ideas. You got a lot of creative people, a lot of artists, a lot of efficient-minded and green people as well here. There's a whole lot of food trucks they've got as well for this event, so if you're hungry in the area, come on by. You get some good food here. No cover charge to get in.
Like, seriously, there's like an
That's a tumbleweed right there. I think it's the first tumbleweed house right there that Jay Schaefer built. It's kind of small, but it's got that architectural, craftsman type design. It's pretty cool. Metal roof, tiny windows. All right, I'm gonna walk back around.